What's up, world? This is Zach's review. Welcome back. Now, we're going to kick it off with another one of my personal favorite movies, and that's none other than Lloyd. Now, Lloyd was released May 4th, the year 2001, and it was an indie film, so it wasn't in theaters or nothing like that. It was kind of one of those situations where it was released straight to DVD, VHS, But Lloyd is about an 11-year-old boy. He has a 8-year-old brother who's cool, but Lloyd is the nerd. He's like the one who gets picked on a lot, and he does whatever he can to try to like fit in and just kind of like make a name for himself and not be the butt of everybody's jokes all the time. So like he would go to dances, girls wouldn't pay him attention, and girls wouldn't want to dance from him. He threw a birthday party, nobody showed up. It was just his mom and his brother there. It was sad, seeing this as a kid. It's like, dang, some kids actually really go through this. So basically, in school, Lloyd ended up having to go to a remedial class. And in that remedial class, he ends up meeting his crush, this girl that he's so obsessed with. And I believe her name is Cindy. Well, Cindy is like the cute girl in the school and whatnot. So all the guys wanted her. So she ends up dating this boy named Troy, who's like the big bully of the school. He would do things to Lloyd, pick on Lloyd. Whole time in that class, there was another little girl who actually liked Lloyd, but Lloyd had no idea. We'll come back to that later. So in this class, Lloyd ends up hitting it off with a guy named Troy. Troy is like, they become friends, they end up getting a sleepover, hanging out, doing stuff, like 11-year-olds do. You have your friends come over, you play games, you stay up all night, you talk about a lot of things and whatnot. So they hit it off really well. That's his boy, they're hanging out every day after school. So now he finally has a friend. And so they're still trying to put their heads together to try to figure out how Lloyd can get with this girl that doesn't want nothing to do with Lloyd. So one day they put this plan together, like, man, how about, I know where she lives. Troy's telling her, I know where she lives and stuff. So they end up going to the girl's house and and playing this big boom box. The speakers is loud, and he's doing his little dance and stuff outside of the girl's window. And the girl opens the window to see who it is. Whole time, Lloyd went to the wrong house. It wasn't his crush. It was the other girl that liked Lloyd. So maybe it was a good thing that he did that. So now she knows, oh wow, like Lloyd likes me. So old girl likes Lloyd. But like I said, we're gonna come right back to that. This is just the lead up. So in between this time, Lloyd is doing all he can to just try to impress people. Because mind you, he's still like the nerd, even though he ended up making a friend and stuff like that. So he was doing all he can to like impress people. So he would buy a whole bunch of gum and pass it out to kids, wear sunglasses in class and just try to be cool. But it ended up getting him in trouble at school. He ended up having to face the consequences of doing some of the things that he was doing. So one day, Troy is at the playground at school and stuff, and he sees Lloyd's crush, and he's like, what's wrong? Because she was crying, and she was like, her boyfriend Storm had dumped her, and then so Troy's like, well, what's wrong? Like, what about Lloyd? Lloyd likes you and stuff. And she's like, well, I don't like him. And in the midst of her telling her that she doesn't like Lloyd and whatnot, and she's not really into Lloyd, Storm comes up behind Troy and like, man, leave her alone. This is my girl. We don't care about nothing you talking about. And so Troy ended up getting beat up behind Lloyd, just trying to protect Lloyd's name. And he found out that Lloyd had lied about some of the things that he was telling him. He was telling Troy a few lies and stuff. And so it kind of costed Lloyd's relationship, his friendship with Troy. Because now Troy's like, man, I don't want nothing to do with you. You a liar. I got beat up because of you and all this stuff. And so now Lloyd is down bad. He's down bad. He's sad. He's home. Now he's thinking about his friend Troy. Like he lost his friend. He doesn't really have friends. So now he's dealing with the consequences of his actions. So after all of this is said and done, there's a recital at the end. You know, there's a recital from the school where they have to dress up like cowboys, cowgirls, and Lloyd is a cactus. Everybody else is like dressed up as cowboy, cowgirls, and they made him be a cactus. I don't know why, but that's just what they did. And so Lloyd's like, man, this stupid costume. Why do I have to dress up like this? And so Lloyd had a brilliant plan in the back of his head. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna change this whole thing around, man. Like they want me to do this and look foolish. All right, I got something for y'all. So he has this tape where it got his song on and he's about to do it. He's about to switch up the game. So like right when the recital starts, you know, their little performance on stage starts. I'll say probably like about a minute into it, fog starts to hit the stage and stuff, and everybody's like, "What's going on?" And then Lloyd comes out. You know, he comes out or switches out his costume, and now he's in this super fly white suit, and he's all clean, doing dance moves on stage. Everybody's looking. You know, his crush. I mean, his girl or the girl that likes Lloyd is looking at Lloyd like, "Oh, you know, this is dope." You know, so he's basically still in the show. And then, of course, he gets drug off stage, and then this turns into a whole food fight. And then so Troy ends up clicking back up with Lloyd, and then the girl that likes Lloyd clicks up with him, and then you know they end up giving each other a kiss. So they end up like falling for each other. Like you know, it's a little mushy story, but at the end of the day, there was some lessons involved in this movie, which is why I loved it so much. Is because it lets you know everybody's different. Everybody should be comfortable in their own skin, and just because you're not quote unquote as popular or whatever the case may be as another person doesn't mean you have to do the extreme to try and fit in with other people. There are other people that will accept you for who you are. And that was the lesson behind that movie, which is why I cherished it so much and which is why I loved it so much. So, you know, that pretty much sums it up. You know, if you guys want to check it out, the movie is called Lloyd. It was released in the year 2001. And that will wrap it up for Zach's review. Make sure you guys subscribe, by the way, man. We climbing up. We climbing up. The goal is to hit 200 right now. So yeah, subscribe, like, share, comment. You know the vibes. Peace.